Hi everyone, I'm Yiso. I'm a film student at the University of Cambridge, and I major in film and screen studies. Today I will talk about faces places, constructing the site of memory through participatory art. Here is my presentation's outline. First, I will introduce the Inside Out project and explain why it is a participatory art project. Then I will consider the artworks in the project as a site of memory and ephemeral memorials. Personal photographs employed in the project are also recognized as powerful mediations for remembering. The case of my study is the Inside Out project. The project is a long-term global art project inspired by J.R., a French photographer and artist. He encourages participants to create large-scale portraits of people and paste these portraits on the exteriors of buildings where the people in photos work or live. Most powerful murals in the project are about communities that are underrepresented. Because photos are displayed in public space, audiences are socially engaged and can generate intercultural dialogues with each other. As the slogan says, we help communities turn their untold stories into a work of public art. It can lead to changes in viewers' perspectives and the empowerment of minority groups who are photographed. So the Inside Out project also responds to the absence of art in museums by people from marginalized communities. In the documentary Faces Places, J.R. and Agnès Varda record the process of working on the Inside Out project in the French countryside. They create photographic portraits of everyday citizens they met, and they visit many marginalized places in France, including an isolated farm, a little cafe in a town, and an abandoned village. During the process of photographing and pasting pictures, the artists talk with participants in rural areas about their occupations, their views of themselves, and the communities they belong to. The main concern that drives the artists to visit those rural places is the desire to memorize the identities of villagers who were marginalized and made invisible under the threat of modernization in France. So I will explore various visual approaches that are used to construct or reactivate memories in order to assert community identities by analyzing the Inside Out project and the French documentary Faces Places. The portraits of villagers pasted on certain buildings constitute what Nora calls the site of memory, where memory crystallizes and secretes itself has occurred at a particular historic moment. The site of memory emerges because of the intersection of memory and history. Nora argues that memory is a dynamic phenomenon of forgetting and remembering, which is bound to locality, certain communities, and concrete spaces, gestures, images, and objects. On the other hand, history eradicates true memory to organize and reconstruct the past and stakes a claim to universal authority. Therefore, the site of memory is necessary for minorities to embody memories and affirm identities through deliberate commemorative activities. Otherwise, these will be altered by history. In the documentary, the Inside Out project presents a quintessential example through its concern for rural miners. Though mining was once the leading industry in France, demand for miners decreased during the process of industrialization, which contributed to a public forgetfulness of both miners' residential areas and their living memories. So the artists create murals to preserve their memory. The murals of miners can be identified as the site of memory in three senses: material, functional, and symbolic. First, miners' dormitories are physical locations that exist in reality. They are constructed from the type of red brick that was popular at that time and these structures anchor and embody the memory of minor communities. Second, the artists in the Inside Out project intend to generate dialogues among community members involved in the murals, so it is displayed for the wearer to remember. Third, appreciating murals is a symbolic action that turns the behavior of viewing into a ritual because it exercises the everyday life through which the transmission of a certain generation's memory to descendants who are not familiar with the past is legitimized. Through perceiving murals as a site of memory, the project ensures the continuity of the miners' stories and transforms their memories into the shared knowledge. Another characteristic of the photographic murals in the Inside Out project is their physical vulnerability. Because they are made of paper and directly exposed to the natural environment, the murals can be easily affected by weather conditions and audience intervention. Compared with permanent monuments situated in symbolic locations, these murals are ephemeral and are also called anti-memorials, since they challenge the sacredness and permanence of traditional monuments. They can also engage visitors in memory work in an interactive way, converting them from indifferent observers into agents of remembering. In terms of the murals' location, they are pasted in everyday residential areas or workplaces in French villages, which form an unusual landscape in contrast to the banality of everyday life. They can grasp the attention of accidental tourists who had not planned to attend a site of memory, eliciting their curiosity about murals' meanings. Regarding the murals' physical layout, the huge size of the portraits is generally reserved for artworks depicting historical or heroic figures rather than ordinary people. These photographs form a visual spectacle for strangers, as the whole picture can only be seen at a distance. Audience must raise their hands and step back to view the entire image, thereby performing and repeating the behavior of villagers viewing their houses, directly returning their attention to the village and embodily reflecting upon their lives. Therefore, viewers experience a shift from seeing to affective feeling, which involves both physical and emotional engagement. Unlike sacred official monuments, the core characteristic of ephemeral memorial is to invite people to participate, which is an integral part of commemoration. The artists invite gathered spectators to help them conduct the project and have conversation about their own stories of the village, which record the local narratives and are recorded in the following documentary. Thus, the subject of memorials shifts from artists to people being photographed, and finally to villagers themselves, emphasizing their responsibility to participate in the memory work. The portraits offer a space for villagers to redefine and negotiate their identities, represented by the artworks, forcing them to confront social issues that affect their local communities. During the project, accidental audiences were transformed from passive spectators into active participants as they participated in building ephemeral memorials physically and mentally. Finally, I will talk about the personal photography in the Inside Out project. Some of the original photographies used for creating murals in the project are from private family albums. Kuhn claims that photographs provide tools for memory work to reconstruct and reinterpret the meaning of past experience. One methodology is to use photos as cues for the verbal performance of memory in conversations between the owner of the photos and the viewers. In the story of a woman who is from a miner family, she tells her own story through presenting her personal photographs to the camera in the documentary. The faded color indicates that the photo has had a long history and might be taken while the mining industry was flourishing in France. Thus, the miner rushes to work without a spare moment to pose for the photographer. The most significant place in the woman's memory is her home, where she waited for her father, the miner in the photo, to come back, and which occupies half of the photo in the background. The woman is the last resident of the miner's old dormitories, because she refuses to leave the house her memory relied on. Although the photograph freezes a memorable moment from the past, the woman may experience a sense of loss upon seeing it, because the mining industry has vanished into the past. The content and meaning of a photograph are more than personal narratives, as a photograph helps personal memories to be shared within a broader social and historical framework. By enlarging and pasting personal photos on buildings, the artist caused the photos to enter the public domain of the visual exhibition. The murals resonate with the experience of other minor community members and construct the collective memory of French miners' history. In the era of digitalization, the scenes of accidental audience who encounter the murals and take selfies with them are recorded in the film. The sharing of digital images on the internet leads to distributed storage, where photos can remain indefinitely in the virtual space. As a result, the original photographs of miners in family albums gain a digital afterlife, becoming permanent evidence of local memories of the miner community accessible to a broader public. The spread of a digital photo and its underlying memory may evoke different affective responses among virtual viewers and gain new meanings as each person reinterprets it distinctively. In conclusion, there is no unmediated history. Both the Inside Out project and the documentary Faces Places are mediated platforms that attempt to uncover the memories of French villagers under the threat of modern development. From a memory studies approach, this talk uncovers the traces of French rural memories embedded in these two media platforms. However, it must be noted that the film represents a version of rural memory from the perspectives of Agnès Varda and J.R. Therefore, it is not objective but frames the villagers with a rosy sense of nostalgia and retrospection. So the side of memory constructed by the film Faces Places to commemorate French villagers is never objective or pure. Here is the reference I used for this presentation. So that's all on my presentation today, and thanks for listening. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me, and I'm really looking forward to have a deeper discussion about the relevant issues.